Hey, what's up? It's Jackal. Thank you for joining me on the frequency today. Could have been anywhere on Earth, but I'm glad you're here with me. So as not to waste your time, what are we talking about? We are talking about the Cybertruck today. So to bring it back, about 5 years ago, I seen the introduction of the proposed Cybertruck, where and I was taken aback. I was really impressed, and the Cybertruck was really something that I felt like I needed to have. With the bulletproof glass and just the ramp that went down to the ground and you can ride your ATV right up onto it. And just the different style of the Cybertruck. Now, I don't like trucks at all. I'm starting to get more into it now that I'm living in Minnesota. But being from Chicago, we don't drive trucks like that for real. Like that was a white boy thing, you know what I mean? So we don't drive trucks like that in Chicago. We borrow somebody's truck to move, and that's pretty much the only time we need a truck. Po- Possibly, now that I think about it, a lot of that because a lot of us lived in apartments and there was no need to be fixing or renovating or doing anything where you need a truck in an apartment. So now I can looking back, I can totally understand why people in Minnesota who own homes would need trucks. Um, However, I was looking at the program with Elon, and even when he threw the ball at the glass and it spider web was shattered. Um, I seen that as a hoopla, but I was like, you know what? No, I like this. Like I never liked how trucks looked. To me, it was a cab and then a box added on to the cab. It looked like a put together vehicle. And that's literally what a truck is, a put together vehicle, a cab and a box. And so I was never intrigued about that. And the first time I ever saw a truck that changed my mind and it made me say, maybe, no, I like that, was the Avalanche. It's because it took away that look of the separate body and it joined the body together and made it like one vehicle. So I like the Avalanche. I was thinking about getting that. And then even better, they out with the Cadillac truck, which was a similar body style, but it was a Cadillac. And um, you know how we be with Cadillacs. you know, you know too. But you know how we be with Cadillacs. So that was the one I set my sights on and said, I'm going to get it. I never wind up getting the Cadillac truck. And by the time I was able to get it, it was a little old fashioned or outdated for me because it was when GMC Cadillac was still using the GMC body frame for everything, and I wasn't impressed. Then they came out with the next model, and um, I kept thinking about getting it, but anyway, I never did. I'm glad I didn't because they stopped producing those, and so you hardly see them around now. So move forward, and then you have the Cybertruck, and it was electric, and I always wanted an electric vehicle, and I said, yeah, yes, this is it. And so I was holding on to my car. I had a Dodge Charger, and I was holding on to it. And you get to a point where you're tired of holding on because years and years have passed, and people were saying, "Hey, what's up with your car? I thought you was trading." I'm like, "Man, Cybertruck ain't came out yet." Man, it's been 2 years. Look, it ain't came out yet. And so what wound up happening is, um, my wife and I were moving, and we were selling our house, and we were selling our my rental house as well. So our house sold first, so we had to move out of our house into the rental house. And then the rental house sold. So we had a, about 3 weeks before we had to be out of the rental house. And we were looking for houses, and that's a long story within itself that I'll tell you one day. But long story short, we were looking for houses and we just couldn't make up our minds. And I was frustrated. And one day I went to the dealership for some reason or another. And when I went to the dealership to get my car, oh, that's why I went to the dealership. So I went to the dealership. So by this time, my wife and I had um, bought a Tesla, a Model Y for her. But before we bought the Model Y, we bought a Mustang Mach E, and that was a beautiful vehicle. We love the Mach E. The thing we didn't love about it is, now this was when it first came off the showroom floor. We likely bought the first, second, or third one in Minnesota. So in the wintertime, the thing would it stopped and it wouldn't start up, it wouldn't do anything. It did it at our job one time, it did it at another place, and then the last time it did it, it was in the garage. And when an electric vehicle stops, you can't put it in a neutral, you can't do anything with it. So they had to drag this thing up on the flatbed. And that's another thing about electric vehicles. You have to use a flatbed. You can't even utilize a regular tow truck. So we got it towed and back to the dealership, back to reality. Yep, there goes gravity. Yep, there goes gravity. Yep. And we said, look, a lot of people are having the same issue. We do not want this vehicle. So we were able to get out of the purchase agreement due to the lemon law. Now, that's when we decided, hey, you know what? Let's go with a company that has been doing this electric vehicle stuff for at least 10 years. So the only one at that time was Tesla. So we went to Tesla, purchased a Model Y, and the experience was so beautiful. All of you who own Teslas, you know exactly what I mean. That's one thing that I don't understand why other car dealerships are not on board. Imagine this. I'm sure you've all bought cars before and have went through the 2-3 hour ordeal that it takes to purchase a car. So I'm talking about at the dealership. I don't know if it's the same at like one of these side of the road places that sell vehicles, but with Tesla, you go in there. You can do it online now, but when we went in because we thought we had to do this, right? So we went in, looked around at the cars, and test drove. But before we test drove, we went in and we just filled out on this iPad what car we wanted to test drive and everything. She came out and said, okay, we can go for a test drive. We took the car out. They didn't come with us or nothing. We took it out and it was a great experience. We came back. They said, what'd you think? And we said, yeah, this is good. So they said, okay, here's the iPad. Just put in what you need in your vehicle, and you can do what you need to do. If you need any help, yeah, I'll be over here. Left us alone. We went in there. It took about 10 minutes to fill out what we wanted in a vehicle, whether we wanted the tow hitch and what size tires we wanted, etc. 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes tops. Tops. Next thing you know, he said, okay, we'll give you a call when the vehicle's in. Said, okay. I think we put down like, not even to him, on this app, we put down like 250, I think. That's just what was required to order it. And we left. We got a call. We came back in. We went on the computer on the iPad to do something else that took like 10 minutes and we were done. That's it. But before that, we had already went in between the time when they were ordering the car exactly to our to what we wanted it to be. We went to our own bank that we do business with, and we decided that we wanted to get the loan through our bank instead of through, the Tesla. And so that was already established. So we went back. Even if you go through Tesla, it's the same. It's the same. It doesn't take any longer. So went back in. Car was waiting out for us. We went in. He gave us our key cards and said thank you. And we went out, got in the car, and drove away. I do not know why that isn't the car buying experience. That was beautiful. So anyway, we were driving a Model Y, and we had already driven a Mustang Mach-E. So we were familiar with electric cars. And as far as I'm concerned, I said I will never drive a combustible engine again if I don't have to. If it won't be my car, that's for sure, if I'm driving one. And so while I'm so I went to the car dealership because I was thinking about just trading my car in because I pretty much had given up on the Cybertruck and said that, you know what, the Cybertruck is done. They're never coming out with it. And when I went to the dealership, I was gonna trade in my car and just get a used Model Y for like, cause I seen one in online for like $27,000. And I said, you know what? I really like her Model Y. I'll just get this used Model Y and I'll just have that vehicle and we'll have two electric vehicles that we can just plug in at home and that'll be great. And one day if they come out with the Cybertruck, maybe I'll think of trading it in for that one, right? And so as I went into this dealership, they had one of the most beautiful vehicles I've ever seen in my life on the showroom floor. This thing stood out from everything. And it was a Tesla Model S Plaid. And at that time, it was the fastest production vehicle on the street. It was amazing. It was a maroon reddish color. The inside was white, perforated seats, heating, cooling. It had two screens, a screen in front of the steering wheel and a screen to the right. Tinted windows. This vehicle was amazing looking. And I'm just looking at it on the showroom floor. And so I'm talking to the guy and he's taking me to the Model Y that I was looking at, that I had come in to see. We got in, we drove the Model Y around and, you know, they all drive the same, the electric vehicles. We come back to the dealership and he's going to get it washed and all this stuff. We sat down for a little bit and talked about what I wanted. So as he's going to do whatever he needed to do, I get up and I'm walking around the showroom floor because I just can't stop looking at this car. And it's definitely out of my price range that I was willing to spend on a purchase. That the car was just amazing. So he came back and I think it was getting late and the store was closing and we just, oh, no, I'm sorry. I needed something. And so he said, you can just bring it in tomorrow. And I was like, yeah, I'll do that because I don't feel like coming back here today. I'll just do it tomorrow. So I happened to get home and me and my wife were talking and I felt like everything was not going as I had planned. We sold our house. We had to be out of this house in a couple of days. All the homes we were looking at building changed our minds. We lost, I think, from $7,000 to $11,000 on money we put down on these houses that we were going to have built, but my wife changed her mind, and then I wanted the same builder to I wanted a different option. I wanted a bigger house than the one that we wanted to get. And so, long story short, long story long, we did not wind up purchasing, and we had to be out in a couple of days. And so we were going to have to move into a motel because we had not decided on a home yet. And I'm just thinking, man, I just had two houses. Now I'm homeless. I'm going to be homeless in 2 days, living out in a hotel. Really frustrated. So, and the Cybertruck's not coming out. And so I said, hey, it's a car at the dealership. I think I want to get it. And my wife said, what about the Cybertruck? I know you've been waiting so long for that. And I was like, well, I just want to get this one. I don't care. And I was just, mind you, I was just saying this because I was just frustrated about a lot of other stuff. And she was like, okay. As soon as she said, okay, I'm like, hmm. So we went to bed. I woke up the next morning, flew to the dealership. And I called her from the dealership. I said, hey, I'm at the dealership. And so she was going to meet me there. And so I'm filling out the paperwork for this vehicle. Well, before I fill out the paperwork, I'm telling them that I want to test drive this vehicle. And so the salesman's like, you want to test drive that vehicle? What about the Model Y? I'm like, I don't I want to test drive that one. So he's like, okay. So he went to tell the business manager. And then he came back and said, yeah, we don't let people test drive that vehicle. And I said, what do you mean? I said, I'm not going to purchase a vehicle and not test drive it. Something wrong with you? You don't understand that? And I said, listen, I said, who? Who's your manager? Who told you that? Who told you to come tell me that? And he pointed to him. I said, all right, I'll be right back. Or you can come with me. Doesn't matter. I went up. I said, hey, what's the deal? I want to test drive that car. And he tried to tell me, well, we don't let people, test drive, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, so hold on. You think I'm going to purchase a $70,000 vehicle and not test drive it? I said, listen, I don't know who y'all think y'all dealing with. I said, I have enough money in my account to purchase the vehicle right out. And I looked at the salesman. I said, am I lying? Because, he had to see my account because we was doing the business on that car. And he looked at them. He had this look on his face. He was like, yeah, he can buy the vehicle cash right now. And so they started changing up their tune a little bit. And I was like, listen, man, I don't care what y'all talking about. I don't know what y'all think I am, what y'all think I look like that I'm coming in here. And then the business manager, he was a minority. He wasn't black. He was something else. And then so he was like, no, I wouldn't do that. I would not allow that to happen. And I was like, man, listen, I ain't trying to hear none of that. I just asked y'all, I was all polite and asked y'all if I can buy this or test drive this vehicle. And y'all act like I can't test drive it, but I'm definitely not buying it. I mean, I can go across the street or go to Tesla and just buy a Tesla from Tesla. It doesn't matter to me where I get the vehicle. But if y'all don't want to sell, it's all good with me. And so they were scrambling, running around. Hey, get the keys. Can you move? Because it was like 5 vehicles in front of it. Could you move all those other vehicles out the way? And so the dude started apologizing. I really apologize, but we really don't do this for anybody. It really doesn't matter who it is. You can be a CEO of some company or something like that. We still don't let them. And I said, man, listen, you can say what you want to say, but anybody who's buying that vehicle definitely is driving it before they're buying it. So I don't even know why you trying to explain what you're trying to explain to me. So you might as well just stop and say, "Hey, we apologize. We getting it for you." And that's exactly what he did. He apologized. They got the vehicle out. And of course, they ain't let me drive it by myself though. Well, the guy was trying to tell me about the vehicle. He didn't know a lot about it. And so I'm hitting the accelerator and it's going, but it ain't doing nothing crazy, right? Because I got a Model Y, right? So I can drive the Model Y. I mean, I'm like, it's pretty much the same as the Model Y. It ain't crazy. Like, I don't, how this the fastest? And then so I got on the freeway and hit it on the exit on a entrance. Man, it was regular. And I got it back and they were like, "Hey, what was it like?" And I said, "Man, it's real regular." And I said, "You know what? It must be on economy or something like that. It has to be on in the echo mode. It has to be. Cause I how it drove, I don't know why anybody would be in a rush to buy that vehicle." So I gave them the card and I said, "Okay, let's do it anyway." Um so we proceeded to, uh, get into financing that vehicle. I can get into the rest of that story another time, but I said that to say that I was waiting for the Cybertruck, and this is the only reason that I wasn't prepared. Because after that happened, we moved out into the hotel for 2 weeks, and then we finally found a home and purchased it. And it was actually everything we wanted, and except it wasn't a new build. And it didn't have to be, but you like it new. But it was everything we wanted it to be. So we were preparing to move in and everything. And guess what? A month later, the Cybertruck came out. And I'm like, oh my God, what? I've been waiting 3, 4 years for this. And now, as soon as I purchase a vehicle, now y'all coming out with it? Oh man. So I'm contemplating, I'm like, ah, man, I don't care, man. I'll take the loss. I always wanted it. Um, but when the first ones came out, it's a million people waiting and over $100,000. It was over $200,000. Some people were paying for it, and my name was on the list early, but it wasn't that early, and so I wanted to be, first one of the first ones with it, but that didn't happen. But the thing that did happen is that a lot of people didn't even know about it, and when they finally saw it, they weren't, they didn't. You know how people are. The shape is not familiar. Um, it's not what I'm used to. It looks like a spaceship or a rolling dumpster. And, but I'm the type of person, I don't care what other people think. If I want something, I want it because I want it, you know, and I'm going to change it up to be different than anybody else's. But it really doesn't matter what anybody thinks. You can like it or not like it, but it's mine. And so I was thinking about how I wanted to kind of maneuver that. But I was enjoying my vehicle too because the first thing I did when the purchase was complete, I got into it and looked in the info center, and found that it was in econo mode. Took it right off of econo mode, punched it. I was out of there. And I'm like, oh, okay. This is what I was expecting. This is the roller coaster that I was expecting. So I was having fun with that. Still wanted the Cybertruck, but I was content. I didn't want to lose that much money. We talking like $10,000 or something like that that I would lose on top of whatever the Cybertruck was costing at that time. So So that's my Cybertruck story, right? So all of a sudden, fast forward, today I get an email and and the Cybertruck, the price had went down finally after like a year or two to somewhat reasonable, $80,000. But it also had the $7,500 tax credit on top of that. Basically only gets you the self-driving if you were interested in that. But it made me start thinking again. Okay, I'll lose like $5,000, because now I'm kind of caught up a little bit. It's more comparable in pricing as far as what I have and as far as what it costs. So I was driving it. One thing I can tell you all, if you ever drive a Cybertruck, regardless of how you feel about it, definitely gonna want one. 100%. That vehicle drives like no other vehicle you've ever been in. And it's just an excellent vehicle to be behind the wheel of. The short turning radius with the steer by wire and the rear wheel steering, and it's an excellent vehicle to drive. Now, that's why it was still on my mind. Fast forward, I got an email today said, "Hey, Cybertruck is now $59,000." And I knew the price was going to drop because of Elon and his political adventures and how so many people were did not like the appearance of the truck, and it was big. Like they made a lot of noise on how they were opposed to the appearance of this truck. So the people who love it. But the people who don't, they scream just as loud. So I said, you know what? Let me just step back and see what happens next year. Let me see what happens next year, 2026. So it's next year. Got this email, 59,000. I'm like, now we're talking. Now we're talking. So this is more comparable. I'll even get some money back. Yeah, what we talking about? Let's look at this now. I open up the app. Guess, guess what, y'all? Mm-mm. We ain't doing this. We are not doing this. I seen that they're offering a dual motor all-wheel drive and a premium all-wheel drive. Now, mind you, there was only one all-wheel drive, and you can get the 3 motor or the 2 motor, but they were all-wheel drive. But now all of a sudden, they're taking what was the regular 2 motor all-wheel drive, and they're calling it premium. And they're taking things out of the regular all-wheel drive 2 motor and then calling that the all-wheel drive. So the premium trim is what they are calling a luxury trim. Now you and I know Tesla does not do luxury. I'm just keeping it 100. I love Tesla vehicles, but let's keep it 100. Tesla does not do luxury. The most luxury you get is what I got, the white interior perforated seats. But that ain't luxury. That's regular for other luxury cars. Look at Cadillac, man. They got screens all across the front of the deck. What? Look at what's the name of that truck? But this other truck, it has on the passenger side, on the deck, it has a huge screen that the driver can't even see. So when you're driving, they can watch a movie, and then you have your own huge screens. They have heat and air controlled seats with massages in them. What are you calling luxury? And the ride is just as comfortable. What are you calling luxury? Okay, so For $59,000, you want to know what they did? They took away the 9-inch screen that was in the middle compartment so the people in the back seat could watch a screen that was for them, 9-inch screen. They took that away. They also took away the heating and cooled seats. They also took away the vegan leather. They're giving you cloth seats for $60,000. That's enjoyable, right? They're taking away the 120 outlet that's inside the vehicle for $60,000. They're taking away the airbags for 60,000. They're taking away your dubs. They're taking away your 20-inch rims for $60,000. Well, that's not it. That towing capacity that was 11,000, yeah, we taking that away too. We getting you down to 7,500. That load capacity, I mean, they call it the payload, 2,500. We don't want no, you don't need to be all the way up there. We're gonna take it on down to 2,000 for you. So you have a worse suspension, less compatible electric plug-ins inside the vehicle for you, smaller rims, less screens. They only were giving you two. Now, fortunately, I have two in my vehicle. I have one behind the steering wheel and one to the right of it. But most Teslas have one. But you were getting the screen behind um, in the middle center console. You were getting that. Nah, go ahead, give me that screen, Playboy. You don't need that. But that's not it. How many speakers you got up in that bar? How many speakers you got up in that bar? You got 15 speakers in that you got 15 speakers in that thing. Nah, you gonna have to come up off them. I give you 7. Get 7 speakers down from 15 speakers. I don't know how you feel about that, but I ain't rocking with that. How you think you gonna charge me $20,000 less, but take out everything that made the vehicle appealing in the first place? Only thing you didn't take out is the drive-by-wire. And I don't want to hear that we left the tonneau cover. The only thing cool about the truck now. Or it really is a dumpster on wheels if you why would anybody want think about something. Like why is Tesla so twisted that they don't understand what's going on? They don't understand what's going on. What I mean is they were trying to sell a vehicle for $80,000. They sold 2 million of them when it first came out for 100,000 and for 85,000. Second year, they went from selling 250,000 to selling 45,000. Now we're in this year. How many do you think they're selling? We don't know yet, right? We don't know yet. How many of these things you think they're gonna sell with nothing in them for $60,000? See, let me give you a clue how this thing works. If everybody loved the Tesla truck and then they couldn't afford the $80,000 that it cost to get one, but then they took those things out and now they're selling them for 60,000. Those people who couldn't afford the 80,000 would be like, "Oh, yes, yes, I can afford one. I can't get the one I want, but I can get this one. Nobody can tell. It looks just the same." That's if people love the product. But when people don't love the product, the appearance of the product, they ain't finna purchase that. You just took all the stuff that matters out. Hey man, you just bought a Cybertruck? Yeah, man. Yeah. Oh man, them nice, man. You got that big screen in the back. Nah. Ain't nothing like that, man. You know what I'm saying? I ain't even want that screen, man. You know what I'm saying? I ain't even want that screen. They was trying to charge me 20,000 for that screen. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. I feel you on that, man. I feel you on that. Yeah, I wouldn't have got that John either. But shh, you got that perforated leather? Nah, 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 nothing like that. Nothing like that. Nothing like that. I ain't want sweat in the summertime. I ain't want to get that. Okay, I mean, at least you got the heating and cooling at least. Nothing like that. Nothing like that. Nothing like that, big boy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I just don't want to be bothered with sometimes I'm hot, sometimes I'm cold, cut on the heat, cut on the cold. You know what I'm saying? I just like to roll. You know what I'm saying? I just like to ride. Okay. You riding on dubs, though. You riding on dubs. I ain't feel like dubbing it out, man. They wanted $20,000 for some dubs. Man, I ain't finna pay that. Oh, oh, okay, okay. Well, here, man, can I plug my drill up? Cause my battery going low. I can just plug it up right here inside you. You gonna have to use the outside plugs, man. You gonna have to. But it's snowing. Yeah, you gonna have to use the outside plug. I ain't wanna pay $20,000 for the plugs, man. So wait, you ain't got. So I, you know what? Don't none of that even matter, man. We going camping next week. We gonna bring the Cybertruck. Hell yeah. You know what I'm saying? We gonna be going over these traverses and yeah. Maybe we should just take your Ford Lightning, man. What you mean? You got the airbags and you got all them Jones. 20,000. 20,000. What? Oh, wait, man, hold up. So you just telling me you got a dumpster on wheels then? Pretty much. Pretty goddamn much. So, what are y'all thinking, man? If you were going to lower that price to 59,000, you should have kept the same Cybertruck and sold it for that amount. You would have sold trucks. The same Cybertruck that you're selling right now for $79,000, $80,000 is the same one you should have dropped the price on to sell it for $59,000. You're going to learn that. Oh, yeah, you're going to learn. Don't understand it. It just doesn't make any sense at all. So I just want to jump on and talk about that because I got that email today and they do not know what the hell they doing. And with all this going on, man, in a world that evolves in all ways, let your foundation be eternal love. Always. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you on the next frequency. And until then, Eli, frequently. What we talking about? We just talked about. Peace. looking good, ma. How you doing?
I'm fine.
That's good. My name's CDN. What's your name?
My name's Hadilla.
It's a beautiful name, but I just call you Hot.
I guess you can.
So what would it take for a man like me to get with a woman as fine as you?
You really want to know what it takes to get with a girl like me?
For sure. Your gravity, bringing them strings. Yeah, let's add some emotion to this scene. Yeah.